You're listening to the Hour of the Time. I'm William Cooper. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight I want to try to explore this phenomenon that seems to be prevalent all over the place, that people are so willing to believe almost anything they hear. And the wilder it is, the more willing they seem to be to believe it. There are also some other parameters here. It seems that if somebody hears it on the radio, they automatically assume that it's true, whether it is or not. And if they see it on television, it's gospel fact, never to be questioned. What I would like to do tonight is explore with the listeners of this broadcast how people are so willingly fooled, and what makes us that way. And don't think that I'm talking down to anybody, because I used to be that way too until I got my head together. See, for most of my life, I was just like everybody else. Until some things happened, some significant and major events in my life that shook me awake. Literally. And rearranged my brain cells to the point where I didn't believe anything anymore, and still don't, unless I can prove it. Or unless somebody can prove it to me. But even if they can, I'll take their so-called proof and I will research it myself to see if it really is proof. And sometimes I find that it is, and sometimes I find that it isn't. And there came a point in my life where I went in the bathroom and closed the bathroom door and looked myself in the mirror and admitted to myself, right there, Bill, you've been stupid and ignorant for most of your life. Thinking that you knew everything, you didn't know anything, and now everything that you've ever been taught seems to be the opposite of what you always really thought it was. Now that was hard to do. That's hard for people to do. It was hard for me to do. But I understood that unless I did it, nothing was going to change. My thinking wasn't going to change, and the way I lived my life wasn't going to change, and the way I treated information and acted upon it was never going to change unless I made that confession to myself and realized that it had to change. I mean, that's one day I realized that I was ignorant, that I had been taught a lot of lies throughout my life and made some assumptions on those lies that created other lies in my own mind. One of which that when I volunteered to go fight in Vietnam, somehow I was fighting for freedom and defending this country. And that was not true at all. And so I'd like to, I really want to explore this tonight. I want to get your input. I want to find out some of the things that we've been led to believe that are not true. I remember one night listening to Mark Kornke's intelligence report. And he was telling everybody that the United States military was going house to house in the southeastern United States confiscating guns. It was a lie. I knew it was a lie the moment I heard it on the radio, but it persisted for weeks, and they gave reports on the progress of the seizure of weapons from the hands of Americans in these house-to-house searches in the southeastern United States. And some deluded idiots even began calling into other radio shows and began to say that they were witnesses, that they had seen it, and that they had had their own guns confiscated, and streets were blocked off, and there were military people standing on the corners. And I know a lot of you listening to this broadcast tonight remember this. And I'm just using this as one instance. It was a lie. Not only was it a lie, it was an intentional lie. And there's many, many more that I can cite, but I want you to call in when I open the phones, not before, and tell me some of the tales that you've heard, where you heard them from, and that turned out to be false. And I want to hear from you whether you believed it or not, and why, or why you didn't, and what you thought when you found out that it was false, and whether or not you were so willing to believe that source again. What I've experienced is that the same people are believing lies over and over again from the same sources all the time, and don't seem to ever put two and two together that, hey, you know, the last 15 things this guy's told me has been a lie. Why am I believing this guy? And then he tells another one, and they fall right in and believe him again. One of those is Art Bell. Art Bell does it almost every night. He turned a harmless meteor shower into an alien invasion one night, and I heard people calling in panicking. There was even a truck driver who said on the air while he was talking to Art Bell, he says, you know something, I saw these things come down, and I thought it was just a meteor shower until I heard your broadcast, and now I'm scared. Remember that? Remember recently on April the 1st, the morning of April the 1st, his power went out, and he claimed that it was the failure of the power plant because of Y2K, because April the 1st is the day that they went over to the fiscal year, and 2000 was now the year. Well, we have a lot of listeners in Pahrump, right where Art Bell is. They were absolutely amazed because their power didn't go out, and they get power from the same power plant. And so a little investigation showed that a cat had climbed up on a transformer and shorted out the transformer in Art Bell's neighborhood. But Art Bell on the air said it was because of Y2K, and the whole area of Nevada had gone dark. He lied. Plain as day, plain as the nose on his face, he lied. Now, the purpose of this broadcast tonight is not to ridicule anybody. I just want to explore how this happens and how we can get it to stop. And to do that, we're going to have your participation. I need you to call in and say, hey, I know exactly what you're talking about. I was listening to so-and-so, or somebody handed me a piece of paper, or I got this over the fax machine, and I believed it. And I went and did this, this, and this, and we were getting all prepared for this, this, and that, and then all of a sudden we found out it wasn't true, or the date came and went, and nothing happened. And so this is what I thought about it then, and this is what I'm doing about it now, or however you want to treat this. I want to try to get at some of the root reasons. Why is it that we buy this stuff? Why is it that everybody I've ever asked about Stanton T. Friedman, if they were a used car dealer, would they buy a car from him? They say no, but they believe everything he says about flying saucers. If you wouldn't buy a used car from Stanton T. Friedman, why in the world would you buy a flying saucer? You see, these are the things that I can't understand that I would like to reach some kind of understanding about tonight. If we can't understand why something happens, then we can't combat it properly to make sure that it doesn't happen. And so while you're listening to this, and I go get me some ice water, you guys can prepare and figure out, what you're going to talk about when you call in, and we'll get the show on the road.